Hello everyone. Today we'll be starting with Unit 4, which is livelihoods. Chapter 8 is rural livelihood. So we'll be studying about the livelihood options which are available in rural settings. That means गाँव में कौन-कौन से व्यवसाय होते हैं. And I would firstly say that I'm extremely sorry because in my last video there was a lot of um, noise disturbance because it was raining, and I thought that the rain noise would be cancelled out, but it didn't happen. So I'm sorry. I'll keep in mind not to record when it's raining. So let's start. Okay, we are here. Can you see? Yeah. In the first chapter, we looked at the many kinds of diversities in a life. We also explored how living in different regions has an impact on the work people do, the kind of plants, trees, crops, or things that become important to them. In this chapter, we look at the different ways in which people earn their living in villages. And here too, as in the first two chapters, we'll examine whether people have equal opportunities to earn a living. We will look at the similarities in their life situations and the problems that they face. So here also in the, like in the first chapter we discuss about the different kinds of diversity, different regions, that has effect on their work life, and different kinds of, the plants, the trees. Like we saw that what the crops which are grown in Kerala very different from those grown in Ladakh, and different type of vegetation and etc. How people earn their living, we'll study about that. And do they have equal opportunity, matlab, do people are can they make equal, like for equal amount of work, are they paid a equal amount of wage, as compared to other settings. Okay, we'll study about that. Yeah, you can see. Describe the work that you see people doing in the above picture. So there are many kinds of different kinds of work that are people doing in the above picture. Here, some are doing fishing. He's selling vegetables. They are constructing, and he has a shop. They are farming here, and she is plucking, I think, fruits. Okay, identify the different types of work that are related to farming and those that are not. List them, list these in a table, so you can make a table that you can see all these are related to farming, and whereas these are related to construction, these are like the shops. Okay, so you can do that. In your notebook, draw some pictures of work that you have seen people do it in rural areas, and write a few sentences that describe. So you can see, if you've ever been to a village, you can write that what are the different kinds of jobs you've seen people doing there. Okay, so we are here. This is Kalpattu village. Kalpattu village, a village that's close to the sea coast in Tamil Nadu. People here do many kinds of work as in other villages. Here too, there is non-farm work such as making basket utensils, pots, bricks, and bullock carts, etc. So there are non-farm work. What do you mean by non-farm work? Non-farm work means the work which are not related to agriculture, which are not related to doing it on a land, like making baskets, utensils, pots, bricks, block cards. There are people who provide these services such as blacksmiths, nurses, teachers, washermen, weavers, barbers, cycle repair mechanics, and so on. There are also some shopkeepers and traders. In the street bazaar, which look like a bazaar, in the main bazaar, which looks like a bazaar, you will find a variety of small shops such as tea shops, grocery shops, barber shops, a cloth shop, a tailor, and two fertilizers and a seed shop. There are four tea shops which sell tiffin such as idli, dosai, upma in the morning here. In the morning, and snacks like vadai, bonda, and Mysore Pak in the evening. Near the tea shops in the corner lives a blacksmith family whose home serves as their workshop. Next to their home is a cycle repair, hire, and a repair shop. Two families earn a living by washing dishes. There are some people who go to the nearby town to work as construction workers and lorry drivers. The village is surrounded by low hills. Paddy is the main crop that is grown in irrigated lands. Most of the people earn a living through agriculture. There are some coconut groves around. Cotton, sugarcane, and plantain are also grown, and there are mango orchards. Let us now meet some of the people who work in the fields in Kalapattu and see what we can learn about farming from them. So, we've studied that there are some non-farm work like making pots. Here we studied bricks and etc. Then there are services like nurses, teachers. We studied here weavers, barbers. Okay, and it is they're describing about a village in Kalpattu village, which is in Tamil Nadu, and they say that there are some small different variety of shops which sell grocery, or there's a barber shop, a cloth or tailor. And then they describe that paddy is the main crop grown, and they describe other crops also which are grown like coconut, sugarcane, and etc. So here are some of the people that are working. Let us see about what kind of work do they do. Thul- Thulasi. All of us here work on Ramalingam's land. He has 20 acres of paddy fields in it's Kalpattu. Even before I was married, I used to work on paddy fields in my parental village. I work from 8:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the evening, and Karunthana Ramalingam's wife supervises us. So they are telling that they work in somebody else land from 8:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the evening. This is one of the few times in the year that I find regular work. Now I'm transplanting the paddy. When the plants have grown a bit, Ramalingam will call us again for weeding, and then finally again once for the harvesting. When I was young, I could do this work with no difficulty, but now as I grow older, I find bending for long hours with my feet in water very painful. Ramalingam pays rupees 40 per day. This is little less than what laborers get in my home village, but I come here because I can depend on him to call whenever there is work. Unlike others, he does not go looking for cheaper labor from other villages. My husband Raman is also a laborer. We don't own any land. During this time of the year, he sprays pesticide when there is no work on the farm. He finds work outside, either loading sand from the river or stone from the quarry nearby. This is sent by trucks to be used in nearby towns to make houses. Apart from working on the land, I do the task at home. I cook food for my family, clean the house, wash clothes. I go to the other women to the nearby forest to collect firewood. About 1 kilometer above, we have a village borewell from where I fetch water. My husband helps me in getting materials such as groceries for the house. Our school going daughters are the joy of our lives. Last year, one of them fell ill, and and had to be taken to the hospital in town. We had to sell our cow to pay back the money we borrowed from Ramalingam for her treatment. So here are some of the questions. So, ek minute. Based on the above diagram, would they say that Tulsi earns throughout the year? So they are saying that they are themselves describing that you can see the cycle. These are all you can see the cycle of the months in a year, where starting from you can see that starting from January to mm, June starting, they are not employed. They don't have any source of income. So I'm talking about Tulasi. Whereas from July it starts, because mid June they start preparing samplings, like small small baby plants. Okay, and then they transplant these to the main field, and then they weed out, and finally the harvesting. So you can see that from this diagram wheel, that throughout the year they do not have work. Okay, Describe the work that Tulsi does. How is it different from the work what Raman does? So Raman is Tulsi's husband, and here, whereas he's a laborer and he sprays pesticides, and he does sand. Sand loading and unloading, and maybe and even stone loading and unloading. Okay. Tulsi gets paid very little money for the work she does. Why do you think agricultural laborers like her are forced to accept low wages? Because there's no other source of income for them. They are dependent on few people. There's like a monopoly. Like only few people are hiring, or the market prices, of course, that is also there, and they don't have any other option other than just accepting the amount that the landowner is giving. In what ways would her way of earning a living have been different if Tulsi owned some farmland? Discuss. If Tulsi would have earned farmland, then maybe sure she would have done the work on her own land, and she would have earned more, because now whatever the produce is from that land, she will be the ultimate owner, and she can sell it off and get the entire amount, and not like 1% or just the wage. What are the crops grown in your region and nearby rural kinds? What kinds of work do agricultural laborers do? So you can discuss amongst wherever you are, whether you are in Mumbai, Delhi, or MP, wherever you are, you can discuss what are the crops which are grown in your area. Sorry. So we'll come next here. As you saw in Tulsi's story, poor families in rural areas often spend a lot of time every day by collecting firewood, getting water, and grazing their cattle. I'm sorry. Let me just settle it. Okay, so we were here. Even they do not earn any money from these activities. They have to do them for the household. The families need to spend some time doing this, as they are not able to survive on the little money they earn. Nearly two-fifths of the rural families are agricultural laborers in our country. Nearly two-fifths, okay. Uh, there are some who have small plots of land, while others, like Tulsi, are landless, whereas some have like small plots of land, whereas the others are landless, just like Tulsi, who works on somebody else's land. Not being able to earn money throughout the year forces people in many rural areas to travel long distances in search of work. This travel or migration takes place during particular seasons. So when they don't have work in particular season, like when there is no um harvesting, or there is no transplanting season, then they do not have work. So what do they go to long they go to different areas, or they travel so that they can get some work, and they go to other areas. Now we have already studied about one person's occupation and how they have their livelihood in a village. So another person is Shekhar. We have to carry his this paddy to our house. My family has just finished harvesting our field. We don't own much land, only 2 acres. We manage to do all our work on our own. At times, especially during the harvest, I take the help of other small farmers and in turn help them harvest their field. The traders gave me seed and fertilizers as a loan. To pay back this, I have to sell my paddy to him at somewhat lower price than what I would get in the market. He has sent his agent to remind farmers who have taken loans that they will sell the paddy only to him. I probably get 60 bags of paddy from my field. Some of this I'll sell to settle the loan. The rest will be used in my home. But whatever I have will last only 8 months, so I need to earn some money. I work in Ramalingam's rice mill. Here I help him collect paddy from other farmers in the neighborhood, in the neighboring villages. So he tells that he owns a small land where he cultivates paddy, and he the total there after harvesting he gets like 60 bags of paddy, out of which matlab, he sells some to settle his loan, and some bags he use for his own survival. And but that will last only for 8 months, so he has to do some other work also to keep his house running. We also have a hybrid cow whose milk we sell in the local milk cooperative. This way, we get a little extra money for everyday needs. So, they're saying they also have a cow, hybrid cow, whose milk they sell in the local milk cooperative. On being in debt, as you've read, very often farmers like Shekhar need to borrow money to purchase basic things like seeds, fertilizers, and pesticides. Often they borrow this money from money lenders. If the seeds are not of good quality or pests attack their crops, they can be a major crop failure. The crops can also be ruined if the monsoon does not bring enough rain. When this happens, farmers sometimes are unable to pay back their loans, and for the family to survive, they may even have to borrow more money. Soon, the loan becomes so large that no matter what they earn, they are unable to repay. This is when we can say they are caught in debt. In recent years, this has become a major cause of distress among farmers. In some areas, this has resulted in many farmers committing suicide. So, a lot of times they have to borrow money, and they borrow money from money lenders, and that is why the amount they've taken, it keeps on increasing with time, and that is why how they turn from just from borrowing to being in debt. What work? So there, देखो यहाँ पे there's this picture. There's a transplanted paddy growing in a few of Ramalingam's 20 acres, a result of hard labor performed by agricultural laborers like Tulsi. So this is a land picture of land where transplanted paddy is growing, and this is not work done by Ramalingam. This all has been grown by people working in his field, like Tulsi we've discussed. Here are some of the questions we'll discuss. What work does Shekhar's family do? So they have a small plot where they grow paddy. Why do you think Shekhar does not usually employ laborers for doing farm? Because they have a small plot and it does not require, sometimes he does not require many people, and he's able to do it. And sometimes if he requires somebody's help, then his father and other small laborers, farm people who also owns land, in exchange of which he also helps in their field. Why does Shekhar not go to town market to get a better price for his paddy? Because he's already taken loan from a money lender, sorry, from a money lender, so that he can buy fertilizers, pesticides, etc. And he's already promised that for the loan he's given, he's gonna sell his paddy at a lower uh, price than the market to him, to the money lender. Sheikha's sister Meena had also taken a loan from the trader. She does not want to sell a paddy to him, but she will have to pay back her loan. I can imagine a conversation between Meena and trader's agent, and the arguments given by each person. So you can do like a small skit that Meena is Shekhar's sister and she's also taking loan, and then the story can build on. What are the similarities and differences between Shekhar's and Tulsi's lives? Your answer could be based on the land that they have, the needs to work on the land that belongs to others, and the loans that they need, and their earnings. So you can make two columns like similarities and differences between Shekhar and Tulsi's lives. Of course, one is that Shekhar has land, whereas Tulsi is landless, and he that means that Shekhar works on his own field, whereas Tulsi goes to work in Ramalingan's plot. Okay, so they're different. You can discuss, or you can write more on that. So now we're here. Ramalingam and Karuthamma. In addition to land, Ramalingam's family owns a rice mill and a shop selling seeds, pesticides, etc. For the rice mill, they use some of their own money and also borrowed from the government bank. So now we are studying what Ramalingam actually does. They buy paddy from within the village and from surrounding villages. The rice that is produced in the mill is sold to traders in the nearby towns. This gives them a substantial income. So they're saying that they have a rice mill and a shop which sells seeds, pesticides, etc. They buy the paddy from the nearby villages and then they sell. Then they the rice which is that is produced in the mill now is sold to this thing traders which are from in the nearby towns. Read again Shekhar's and Tulsi's accounts. What do they say about Ramalingam, the larger farmer? Together with what have you read in the details below? How much land does he have? He has take 20 acres. What does Ramalingam do with the paddy grown? He sells it to the traders nearby. Apart from farming, how else does he earn? He has a shop in which he sells pesticides, seeds, etc., and a rice mill. Okay, now we are here. Wait, it's here. Terrace farming in Nagaland. This is a village called Shizami. Shizami. Okay, you can see terrace is like steps, terrace or steps farm. You can see one lower. This is lower than this. This is it's like steps, which is called like terrace. This is a village called Shizami, which is in the Fek district in Nagaland. The people of this village community belong to Chekki Sang community. They belong to Chekki Sang community. They do terrace cultivation. This means that the land on a hill slope is made into flat plots and carved out in steps. The sides of each plots are raised in order to retain water. Now the this allows water to stand in the field, which is the best for rice cultivation. Okay. The people of Chizami have their own individual fields, but they also work collectively in each other's fields. They form groups of 6 to 8 and take entire mountain side to clean the weed on it. Each group eats together once their work for the day is over. This goes on for several days until the work is completed. Now this is a plot of land. Now they have to cut it. How will they cut it? Like this. In the form of steps. And here the sides, these are sides which, you know the sides here, you can see it is thicker, right? They are thicker in order to retain, so that water does not go like this, like water does not flow like this. It is retained, and it is best for growing rice because rice requires a lot of water. Now we are here. Agriculture laborers and farmers in India. In Kalpattu village, there are agriculture laborers like Tulsi and many are small farmers like Shekhar and a few big farmers like Ramalingam. In India, nearly 2 out of every 5 rural families are agriculture laborers. Sorry, laborer families. All of them depend on the work they do on others field to earn a living. Many of them are landless, and others may own very small plots of land. In the case of small farmers like Shekhar, the land is barely enough to meet their needs. In India, 80% of farmers belong to this group. Only 20% of India's farmers are like Ramalingam. These large farmers cultivate most of the land in the villages. A large part of their produce is sold in the market. Many of them have started other businesses such as shops, money lending, trading, and small factories. From the figures above given above, would you say that a majority of countries' farmers are quite poor? What do you think can be done to change the situation? Of course, they are poor because firstly they're not working on their own land, so they are being paid wages by the landowners, and their income is being their wages are very low, so they are dependent on big farmers like Ramalingam. So it clearly says that 80% of the farmers in India are small farmers, and only 20% are like Ramalingam who own large plots of land and make others work on their own land. We have looked at farming in Kalpatu. Apart from farming, many other people in the rural areas depend upon collection from the forest, animal husbandry, Now they depend on forest, animal husbandry, dairy produce, fishing, etc. Now, for example, in some villages in central India, both farming and collection from the forest are important source of livelihood. Collecting mahua, tendu leaves, honey to be sold to traders is an important source of additional income. Similarly, selling milk to milk village cooperative society or taking milk to the nearby town may be the main source of livelihood for some families. In the coastal areas, we find fishing. Let us find out more about the lives of fishing family by reading about Aruna and Parivillan, who live in Pudupet, a village close to Kalpattu. Fisherwomen selling the catch at the local market. You can see women selling. Uh, Aruna and Parivillan. Not very far from Kalpattu is the village of Pudupet. People here earn their living by fishing. Their houses are close to the sea, and one finds rows of catamaran and nets lying around. At around 7 o'clock in the morning, there's a lot of activity on the beach. This is the time when the catamarans return from the catch, and women gather to buy and sell fish. My husband Parivalan, my brother, and my brother-in-law returned late today. I was very worried. They go to the sea together in our catamaran. They said they were caught in a storm. I have kept aside some fish for the family. I will auction the rest. The money I get from the auction will be divided into four shares, one each for each person who went fishing, and fourth one is for the equipment. Since we own the catamaran engine and nets, we get that share too. We have taken a loan from the bank and purchased an engine which is fixed on to the catamaran. Now they can go far in the sea so that they can get a better fish. So now if they have to go and pedal by themselves, it is going to take more time, whereas if they have an engine, it's going to be more mechanical, and human labor is going to be less, and they can go even far into the sea. The women who buy fish here will carry them in baskets to be sold in nearby villages. Then there are others like traders who buy for the shops in the town. I will only finish the auction by noon. In the evening, my husband and my relatives will untangle and repair our nets. Early tomorrow morning around 2 am, they will set out to the sea again. Every year for at least about 4 months during the monsoon, they cannot go to the sea because this is when the fish breed. During these months, we survive by borrowing from the trader. Because of this, later on, we are forced to sell the fish to that trader and cannot do our auction. Those lean months are the most difficult. Last year, we suffered a lot of damage because of the tsunami. Rural livelihood. People in rural areas earn their living in various ways. Some work on farms while others earn their living on non farm activities. Working on farms involves operations such as preparing the land, sowing, weeding, and harvesting the crop. We depend on nature for the growth of the crops. Hence, lives revolve around certain seasons. People are busy during sowing and harvesting, and less so at other times. Rural people in different regions of the country grow different crops. However, we do find similarities in their life situations and in the problems that they face. How people are able to survive or earn will depend on the land they cultivate. Many depend on these lands for the work as laborers. Most farmers grow crops both for their own requirement and also to sell in the market. Some have to sell to traders from whom they have borrowed money. For the survival, many families need to borrow money for their work or when to work and when no work is available. There are some families in rural areas which thrive on large acres of lands, businesses, and other activities. However, most small farmers, agricultural laborers, fishing families, craft persons in the villages do not find enough work to keep them employed throughout the work. So they're saying that they do not get work throughout the year because only during the time like half the year they are involved in sowing and harvesting, whereas the other times they have to be depend on the traders and etc. Why do both Shekhar and Aruna's families have to borrow? Because they have to mean they need money to buy the capital resource, as in like Shekhar, the pesticides and this thing, sorry, seeds. Okay. And whereas Aruna's family, they want this thing. Aruna was, yeah, they want a net, engine, and etc. How have you heard about tsunami? What is it, and what damage do you think it might have done to the life of fishing families like Aruna? So during the tsunami, the sea is very rough, the waves are very high, and there are dangers that the ship or the boat might, turn like flip flop. Okay, and then of course they won't be able to survive. So here are some of the questions we have to discuss. You've probably noticed that people in Kalpatu are engaged in a variety of non-farm activities. Now you have to list, like, you can list that they have like small shops which they sell and so on. We've discussed so many work that they do, like apart from harvesting of crops. Okay, then list the different types of people you read about in Kalpatu depend on farming. Who is the poorest? And like the landless laborers who do not own land, and whereas there are big farmers like Ramalingam who have big plots of land in which other people like this thing uh, sorry, in which other people like this, what was the name of the person? I'm sorry, I cannot recall. Let me see. In which the, yeah, Tulsi and other people like laborers, they work. Have you imagine you're a farmer of a fishing family and you're discussing whether you take a loan from the bank or an engine for an engine? What would you say? So you have to discuss, like, even make an skit and make it more entertaining. Poor rural families like Tulsi often do not have access to good medical facilities, good school, and other resources. You've read the inequality in the first unit in this chapter. Think the difference between a horror and Rulangam is one of inequality. Do you think that this is fair situation? What do you think can be done? So of course, only because Ramalingam owns the bigger share of the land does not mean that all the facilities should be given to Ramalingam. They should be, the access and opportunity should be same for both the people. What do you think the government can do to help farmers like Shekhar when they get into debt? Of course, some of the people say that they should waive the sing loan, but rather than waiving of the waive, matlab maaf kar dena. Like, you say, suppose I have borrowed 2 lakhs from the government, but I said no, no, you don't have to pay it, it's just cut it out. Apart from them, they can open cooperatives in which the common resources like harvester or seeds, fertilizers can be given by the government. Compare the situation of Shekhar and Ramalingam are filling out the following table. You can discuss like the land cultivated, labor required, loan, selling of harvest, because Shekhar is a small farmer whereas Ramalingam is a big farmer. So you can discuss about that. So yeah, we've completed this chapter, and if you have any doubts you can always comment down and I'll revert back. Also, yeah, that's it. Okay, then take care, stay healthy, and bye.